Good morning. Happy Tuesday. This is your Tuesday edition of Weather Where You Are. I am meteorologist Dorsey, and you know what we're here to talk about today. It's Hurricane Idalia. Idalia is entering into the Gulf of Mexico, becoming stronger minute by minute. We just got our 11 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center. Storm now has 85-mile-per-hour winds, so I'm going to get right into it, take you through all of the latest information, the impacts here locally. I know that many of you have friends and family that live in South Georgia and Florida and are interested in this storm. I want to note as well, guys, before I get started, we have crews headed to South Georgia. Cutter Martin will be in South Georgia starting at 5 p.m. today. Courtney Jacobazzi will be in Florida. She is going to be riding out the storm. We're going to be bringing you that coverage both tonight and tomorrow morning. It is likely to make landfall around 9 tomorrow. So if you're kind of a hurricane geek, you'll want to just keep Atlanta News First on, because we have like 6 or 7 teams headed down to the south, all across the region, to bring you live looks of what it looks like all across the area. Okay, let's get into it. Hurricane Idalia, this is the 11 a.m. update. It became a hurricane at 5 a.m. today. Winds are now up to 85 miles per hour. Look at the pressure. So the pressure drops in the center of these storms. The pressure of 976 indicates to me more of a Category 2 hurricane. So usually what happens is the pressure drops and then the winds increase to reflect that pressure drop. So I think that we're going to continue to see these winds increase. I bet you that by this evening we have a Category 2 hurricane. Okay, it's moving pretty quickly, moving north at about 14 miles per hour. Here are the tropical alerts. There is a hurricane warning out from Panama City through the Big Bend of Florida all the way down through Tampa and even as far south as Sarasota. Fort Myers is under a tropical storm warning, as well as parts of the Atlantic coast of Florida from Jacksonville down through Daytona. This is all just based on wind speeds. So the purple areas will see winds above 74 miles per hour. The areas in orange will see tropical storm force winds, so 39 to 74. Now, as you can see, South Georgia, including Valdosta, is under that hurricane warning. So South Georgia is likely to see this thing maintain its hurricane strength as it enters into the southern part of our state tomorrow afternoon. The entire Georgia coastline is under a tropical storm warning. And they have now extended that tropical storm warning to include Charleston and a good portion of the South Carolina coastline. So that whole coastline from Charleston down to St. Simons likely to see tropical storm force winds. So this is going to impact not only the Gulf, but also the Atlantic coastline. Here is the current track. Likely to reach Cat 2 strength by this evening, 105-mile-per-hour winds. It is now likely to reach very strong Category 3 hurricane strength. Guys, every time that the National Hurricane Center brings us these updates, they're increasing the max winds by like 5 miles an hour. If they increase those max winds to 130, that's a Cat 4 storm. So right now, it's right under Cat 4 strength when it makes landfall. So a very strong Cat 3 storm. That's not good, okay? But here is the good news. You can see it makes landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida. This is essentially a marshland. It is not a highly populated region of Florida. So that is the good news there. It will move into our state, though, as a hurricane tomorrow afternoon. You can see by the time it reaches kind of the Savannah area tomorrow evening, it is decreased to a tropical storm, still sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. That's going to pack a punch. It rides along the South Carolina coastline Wednesday night, back out to sea on Thursday, and then kind of does a little curve. We'll have to watch what happens thereafter. So the main track is south of us here in North Georgia, but that does not mean that we're not going to see local impacts, okay? So let me get you back and show you kind of what we're going to expect to see. This is the expected radar tomorrow morning. You can see the inner bands from Tampa over through Panama City, Tallahassee getting hit pretty hard. The eye makes its way inland sometime between probably 8 to 11 a.m., I would say. By 1 p.m., that eye is moving into the Valdosta area. Guys, really heavy rain, and also we see spin-up tornadoes. These storms have a lot of spin with them, so a lot of times as they weaken and they move inland, we can see spin-up tornadoes. So South Georgia is going to have to be worried not only about heavy rain and flooding and winds, but also about spin-up tornadoes tomorrow. especially through the afternoon. Now, by tomorrow evening, the heaviest of the rain has moved into South Carolina, and it will continue off to the east on Thursday. By Thursday morning, it is sunny here in North Georgia. Here is the wind gust forecast. We've kind of broken this up so you can see pretty easily where the tropical storm force winds will be tomorrow. Those tropical storm force winds as far east as Orlando, Gainesville seeing tropical storm force winds. You can see the actual hurricane force winds are a very small portion of this storm, okay? So it's really central Florida, Live Oak area. Valdosta, I think, may see hurricane force winds. Now, South Georgia looks very windy tomorrow, tropical storm. That's the reason that they're under that tropical storm warning. See all that orange? That is winds above 39 miles per hour. But for us here in North Georgia, it's just going to be breezy tomorrow, okay? We're not going to see tropical storm force winds. In fact, those winds move off into South Carolina tomorrow evening. So our impacts do not look like they will be significant. All right, here's storm surge, which is always the scariest and also most dangerous part of hurricanes. The area that's going to see the greatest storm surge above 9 feet, and you guys know what storm surge is. It's that wall of water that gets pushed inland as these storms move inland, right? It's why all of the, beach houses that you see along the coastline are usually on stilts, because when that storm surge comes in, it can knock over everything in its path. The good news is the greatest storm surge is going to be in that Big Bend region, that marshland region where just not many people live. So east of Panama City, down through north of Tampa, over 9 feet of storm surge. Now, Tampa Bay itself, down through Clearwater, this includes St. Pete's, likely to get 6 to 9 feet of storm surge. That's nothing to play around with. That is going to cause some flooding for the Tampa area. And then south of that, Sarasota down to Fort Myers, likely to see 3 to 6 feet of storm surge. Also want to note, though, Savannah, the entire Georgia coastline up through Charleston, likely to see 3 to 6 feet of storm surge. And you guys know Charleston sits on this low-lying area, right? So very likely that Charleston will see some flooding from this. Savannah may see some brief flooding from this. And that time frame would be tomorrow afternoon into Thursday morning. Okay, so let's review what to expect. Idalia's landfall is tomorrow morning north of Tampa as a very strong Category 3 storm. Would not be surprised if it's a Cat 4, okay? Would not be surprised. Right now making landfall in the Big Bend area that is not highly populated. For us here in North Georgia, our main impact from this storm system is going to be scattered heavy showers tomorrow, possibly even just some light rain as well. But South Georgia is going to get that really heavy rain, flash flooding, really strong winds, potential tornadoes. So it's the southern half of our state that will be by far the greatest impacted. I do want to talk about our weather here right now because we saw some major flooding through the overnight hours. Calhoun, Georgia picked up 7 inches of rain in like 5 hours last night. We saw really bad flooding in the mountains. We're likely to see that again today. We saw 285 near the Braves airport yesterday was like a river. We're going to see that again. Really slow-moving storms pop up this evening, tapping into some of the tropical moisture. So this evening and tonight, I'm expecting more flooding, okay? So that is another first alert. It'll go into effect around 5 p.m. That's when we'll begin to see these storms become widespread. And guys, as you head to bed tonight, you need to know through the overnight hours, flash flooding is a high possibility. So just be aware of that. Have a way to get warnings on your phone. You know a way to get warnings on your phone? Downloaded the First Alert Weather app. I woke up to a notification on my phone, heavy rain has been detected in your area from the app. It's a great tool to have. So as soon as I woke up this morning, I knew it was raining really heavily in my area. Checked my radar on the app. Boom, I knew it was raining outside. We'll send you push notifications if there's flash flood warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, all of that. Really great tool to have in the overnight hours and just when weather's really important, like the next couple of days. Okay, so high risk for those slow-moving storms again. Flash flood threat is at about 15%. I would put it probably more at like 20-25%. Any of these storms that do pop up are likely to drop a ton of rain through the overnight hours. So let's take it hour by hour. Again, the storms start bubbling up 3-4 p.m. They continue through the overnight hours. Then we get a slight break tomorrow, and you can see that heavy rain tomorrow is really off to our east. But I'm not ruling out Atlanta, over to Athens, down through Eatonton, especially down towards Lake Oconee, seeing heavy rain. So this is the impacts that I think we're going to see here right now. From Idalia, heavy rain and flooding is likely tomorrow from Eatonton over through Augusta, especially Augusta and areas south. Scattered showers are likely across North Georgia. Now, like I said, the ground's really saturated because we got a lot of rain, the last 2 days. We saw a lot of rain last night. We're going to see more rain tomorrow. So any additional rainfall tonight, tomorrow, will cause a concern for flash flooding. The rain tomorrow does look lighter, actually, than the rain we're going to see in the storms tonight. So our impacts from Idalia tomorrow will actually be less significant than the rain and storms that we see tonight. Just want to note that. So still about a 50-60% chance of rain. I'm showing you this to give you some perspective. This is the rain tonight and tomorrow. You can see these pockets of orange and pink. Those are the storms that are going to that are going to form tonight. Those storms could drop 2, 3, 4 inches of additional rainfall. So pockets of flash flooding very likely, but the really big line of rain that's going to be dropped, the path of Idalia, you can see is down to our south, Valdosta, Douglas, over through Augusta, Charleston, even into coastal North Carolina. They're looking at 5+ inches of rain. That's where flooding is going to be the most likely from Idalia tomorrow. Okay. Again, y'all, we are getting these updates every 3 hours, and this information is changing. Just a small little tilt or bump to the left or right of the path can cause significant differences in the impacts we see. But right now, the flash flood risk for tomorrow is by far the greatest down to our south along coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina as well. So once again, you still need to be on high alert for rain and additional storms here in North Georgia this evening and overnight tonight. And rain is likely tomorrow as well. Our local impacts will be minimal, looks minimal right now. However, I will say in the models updates through the morning, they were bringing that rain tomorrow closer and closer to Metro Atlanta. So it's something that you're going to want to watch closely because it could change. We could end up getting heavy rain tomorrow, although the main impacts, the severe weather, will be down to our south tomorrow through the day. Once again, guys, I want to remind you, we have a whole team of meteorologists and reporters headed down to the south, and we're going to have team coverage this afternoon, this evening, and tomorrow. It's supposed to make landfall probably during the 9 a.m. show tomorrow on Atlanta News First, so it's going to be a very active show. Courtney wants to get right in the middle of it and show you guys what it looks like to ride through a major hurricane. So if that's something that you want to see, you'll want to just tune in. Okay, 6 a.m. tomorrow, Atlanta News First, also 9 a.m. on Atlanta News First, and we are on 7 and 8 a.m. on Peachtree TV. And I will do another one of these tomorrow. By the time I do it at 11:30, you guys know Weather Where You Are is every day at 11:30. We talk about local weather, we talk about national weather. By the time I do this one tomorrow, we are likely to have already seen landfall, okay? We'll see that storm racing towards Georgia. All right, guys, have a great day. Jen will be on in 17 minutes on Atlanta News First at noon, and I will be back tomorrow morning.